let's get into this best of 3. Edward versus THOMPSIN. Their first match today. Here we go, guys. We're going to be getting into the pre-ban very shortly. We're going to see some interesting pre-bans coming out of both these players here.
Yeah, and so we talked about these pre-bans before the match here, but I think you have to look at it two ways, right? If I'm Edward, I'm kind of worried about THOMPSIN and his Gianna, and probably THOMPSIN and his Gurka. Gurka is pretty much strong into anything, and once it takes control of the game's over. Once it gets a couple of provokes on, it's pretty much over here. And if I'm THOMPSIN, I'm scared, you know, as we talked about, of that Tianlang. Tianlang is very good into whatever THOMPSIN has, whether it's an Oliver, whether it's a Ragdoll. So we'll see what happens here. I think THOMPSIN should start with an Oliver or a Masha, but he's likely going to go more passive, as we've seen in the past. Goes the more active route. I like this a lot. Edward responses really quick with the Masha and Nana here.
Yeah, very quick drafts there by Edward. The pre-bans are out here. Surprised to see that Narsha, but not surprised at the same time. THOMPSIN taking a Shizuka Gianna. Edward very quick to respond. Ragdoll Juno.
That's the toy we're talking about here. Edward did pull a Ragdoll earlier in this week here. What a pull before SWC, and that makes a huge difference. THOMPSIN with the LDs that we didn't see last week, so I really like this Gurka pick. Really like the Oberon. That's a lot of threat. THOMPSIN's basically insinuating that he's going to ban the Nana, but I think Ragdoll also poses a lot of threat to his team here. I think if I'm Edward, I'm probably going to angle to ban out that Gurka, but he does have a Masha and Juno, which play pretty well in the Gurka, so if that's the case, Oberon probably makes a little sense here, but Gurka's just such a scary unit to fight.
What an aggressive draft from THOMPSIN, wrapping up with the Gurka and that Oberon. Oberon being a fantastic combination with the Shizuka. Edward wrapping up his draft with a Miles.
Yeah, I do like the Miles pick here. It does allow him some damage over time. Edward does have some resilience with the Nana, with the Ragdoll, with the Juno here. I think if I'm Edward, I'm looking at either the Gurka or the Oberon. I think those would make a lot of sense. If I'm THOMPSIN, I'm looking to take out that Nana, or potentially looking at Ragdoll. I mean, we've all faced Ragdoll on the ladder. Ragdoll's really scary. I think that's what the bans should be. We'll see if the players decide that that's correct or not.
Bans are locked in. Nana is banned, and Shizuka is going to get banned out here on THOMPSIN's side.
Not a fan of that Shizuka ban here. There's a lot of threat coming out from THOMPSIN's side. THOMPSIN's going to be able to get that Oberon off. So I think Edward may be on the back foot in this one. So we'll see what's going to happen, how the resists and provokes land. But THOMPSIN looks to have a really strong draft here.
We'll see indeed. Miles going to be kicking it off for Edward, getting a massive stun onto that Oberon.
Wow, that's a massive stun here. Really lucky to land that. I mean, that's a under 50% chance to land that. So very lucky by Edward there. Might give him the upper hand in this match.
Yep, we'll see, but there's no will runes here, and we've got Oliver ready to push back some attack bar, probably going on to the Ragdoll, making sure he's not going to get turned there. Does get it. Oliver's going to be taking his additional turn, of course, with the second skill going into the Miles.
Yeah, but that's going to be a lot of damage coming up from Juno. Probably going to drop the Oberon here. Oberon's not going to take a turn here, and THOMPSIN goes down 3 units to 4.
Yeah, that's a big kill right there. Oberon's going to be dropping, cycling a little bit of attack bar. There's the additional turn coming out of the Gianna as well. Additional bombs are going to be coming out.
Yeah, but THOMPSIN does have one provoke onto that Miles there, and there's going to be more provokes landing, so I think THOMPSIN's going to be able to regain some footing here. Edward is going to need to find a way to down another unit.
Most definitely. Another Despair stun, though, coming out on top of the Oliver, locking down that unit, not able to capitalize on it. Defense break does land on top of the Ragdoll. No provoke's going to be landing there. Additional turn popping up from Masha. Masha looking to capitalize with that second skill.
Wow, huge proc there. Allows Edward to get a defense break and a lot of damage onto that Gianna, and also big resist from that Ragdoll. THOMPSIN finally able to get that provoke onto that Ragdoll.
Yeah, provoke landing there. Definitely going to be really good for THOMPSIN, though. Not dismounting the Masha, though, was very important that he dismounted that unit there.
Yeah, it's going to mean he's going to require an extra hit here. That Juno going for broke there, I really think he should have used skilled 1, so some player mistakes coming out of Edward here, not being able to do enough damage, and that Masha is dismounted here, so no more immunity to protect itself.
That's right, Masha gets dismounted. We've got that third scale up with Oliver. We know what happens when this third skill is up. Defense break sitting on top of the Ragdoll. Reduce the attack bar to 0. The additional turn's going to be popping out here. He can pretty much go on any units, push back the attack right here. Gurka is going to be a very dangerous unit.
Gurka indeed going to be a very dangerous unit here. He's going to need to taunt up Miles here. Does not get the taunt. Might not matter. Miles might not take a turn, but it's all about this Juno and how much damage this Juno does. It's going to be a Juno versus 3 units, and we're going to need to see if Juno can solo this team or not.
Ooh, big attack bar pushback there with the third skill coming off the Oliver. Oliver with the second skill going right back onto that Juno again.
Yeah, Oliver's basically going to control the entire team here. This Miles might not get a turn. Miles will get a turn here, depending on if Gurka can provoke it or not. But again, it's going to come down to how well this Juno can down this Oliver and then take it to a Juno versus Gurka matchup.
There's definitely a ton of provokes on the field. That's really going to benefit Thompson here. Oliver is definitely going to be very impactful because there's nothing Edward can do about that Oliver. He's got a lot to worry about.
Yeah, and unfortunately that Juno only doing 1.5k damage per hit here, but does get a huge revenge stun and a stun onto that Oliver.
Yeah, very lucky Despair stun, revenge stun going out into that Oliver indeed. Second skill's going to be coming out for Thompson, looking to get rid of that Masha. Not just yet though.
Yeah, but again, it's going to come down to Juno versus Gurka here, and Juno is going to be able to get that, be able to heal every single turn if it gets provoked, so we'll see which unit is runed better, and it's going to come down to LD versus non-LD unit to end this match.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens here. No Provoke's going to land on top of that Masha. Beautiful Despair stun though, but additional turn coming out of the Gurka.
Absolutely massive proc from that Gurka, otherwise that Masha is going to pummel a lot of damage. But again, it's going to come down to Juno versus Gurka here. Let's see which unit stays ahead. Thompson does not want to land that provoke onto that Juno.
He doesn't. Juno's going to heal up a ton, and if those Despair stuns come out, that's definitely going to wrap it up here. Edward taking round one away from Thompson.
Wow, what a match there. I was very surprised by that Shizuka ban coming out from Edward. I really think he should have thought about banning out one of the LDs, but again, we saw that opening from that Miles, able to stun that Oberon, and you know that stun's a 50% rate, but when you have an AC res check of 85, basically your chance of landing that is 0.85 times 0.5, which is, you know, not quite 50%. So from the get-go, Edward has less than a 50% chance when he chooses to ban out the Shizuka instead of the Oberon. If that Oberon goes off, he loses a unit. So Edward getting pretty lucky there, and of course at the end, Juno with the ability to self-cleanse there counters Gurka. So Gurka, one of the strongest units in the game, did lock down the other three units, but missed quite a few provokes, and Juno was able to take it from there.
Yeah, Juno was absolutely devastating. A ton of Despair stuns coming out there, able to cycle so much attack bar. It was able to keep Edward in that match. I wonder if we're going to see the Juno pre-ban potentially coming out of Thompson, but I don't know if we'll see that.
No, I think Thompson should take out the Ragdoll if he wants to pursue aggression here. He could take out a Chroma as well. Edward is definitely not going to pre-ban the Ragdoll, but he's going to be able to use his Tianlang, which is going to help a lot. If I'm Edward, I'm thinking about taking out either Gianna or a Nephthys. I think that's very dangerous from Thompson's side. We haven't seen the Nephthys picked at all this entire tournament, but I think that would be a great pick. Gurka's also great as well. I mean, that unit's just incredibly tough to deal with.
Yeah, most definitely. Edward's got the first pick here. The pre-bans are that Gurka and Oliver.
I think we're going to start with the Masha here, would make the most sense, but you could also see some passive play coming from Nana, Shizuka type thing. But I think Masha's the pick that makes the most sense in this matchup. It's really strong in a lot of things that Thompson can bring because it gives immunity to itself and presents a kill opportunity if it gets a problem.
Ooh, Edward going to be first picking that brand new unit, taking the Ragdoll away from Thompson.
And I am not sure about that Ragdoll. Just because you draft Ragdoll doesn't mean that you don't have to use your brain to think in a draft here. Not sure about picking that first. I think that's way too early here. Thompson can definitely go for aggression and shut out Edward because that pick is just such a dead pick into if Thompson decides a fast, aggressive comp here. So Edward should really think about Masha and some way to counter some aggression from Thompson. So maybe like a Masha, and if he wants to play passive, Nana's fine too, but he's definitely going to need to bring on Masha. Changpeng would be a great unit too. But instead decides to double down on this passive play and goes with a Juno and a Nana here.
Extremely passive play coming out of Edward. Shizuka Dominic can be very aggressive here, especially that Dominic. Thompson potentially bringing out more aggression in these next two picks.
This is where I would love to see a Tessarian. If Thompson had an Isis would be amazing here, but Tessarian is great here. Goes for single target damage, which I also like that approach. Again, we talked about Edward's Ragdoll being very weak to high aggression, and that's what Thompson's bringing correctly going into this draft correctly. Goes with the Molong, goes with the Narsha. It's going to present basically 3 units that can solo a unit off the bat.
Ooh, we're definitely going to be seeing Shizuka let through, and I think that's what that cigar is going to be signaling. Going to be bringing a CR to the draft as well.
Yeah, so Edward bringing the Cigar, I do like the Cigar. It does allow him to disrupt one unit of Thompson's. I would presume it's probably faster than those units. Maybe even the Swift build allows, with the skill 3, allows a reset of skill cooldown and then reset of attack bar of anything that's not on will here. And Thompson wisely going with the budget Light Monkey King. I'm not sure why he's drafting that unit instead of a Light Monkey King. Light Monkey King's a lot better than the Fire Bison here. So goes with the Fire Bison instead of the LD unit. Bans out the Nana, makes a lot of sense given the all the aggression he's had here. So it's going to come down to if Edward can 3v4 Thompson's team, because Edward is going to lose a unit off the bat.
We'll see if that speed lead is going to be helping out Edward here. Let's see if he takes turn 1 over Thompson. We get into this round 2 match between Thompson and Edward.
And Edward here does have the ability to open up the Sagar, does get a crucial provoke onto that Molong.
Yeah, I don't think he got the reset though onto the Molong. I can't tell if I missed that or not. Bomb's going to be coming out for this Ciara here, looking to lock down the Nasha.
There's going to be a lot of damage coming out from this Dominic, but yes, stunning up that Masha. That Narsha is going to be dismounted very soon here, so Edward's going to be in a pretty decent spot. Thompson's going to need a couple procs if he wants to lay enough aggression on.
Ooh, a lot of damage though. Branding does land. Goes to the second skill, takes out the Ciara.
Wow, and as I like to say, Fighter 3 survivability on that Ciara. Ciara basically goes down in 2 shots. Way too squishy for this level of play and into Thompson's runes here.
Yeah, defense breaks in on top of the Narsha. Narsha's going to get removed from the field here. We got that third skill coming up with the Fire and Bison. Stuns across the field. We're going to see some big damage again coming out of this Dominic.
Those are some massive stuns coming out from the Fire Bison here, stunning up the Ragdoll and the Sagar here. So not a lot of aggression coming out from Edward's side. This is Thompson's chance to be able to down a unit. This Dominic is going to do so much damage.
Ooh, Narsha does not die here. I think he's going to have to clean up that unit before something could happen. We've got Juno with the first skill into the Narsha, and Dominic is going to be coming back. If Dominic gets an additional turn here, we could be seeing a unit removed from the field.
That's right. All we need to see is Dominic take an additional turn here. We'll see if he gets it. Does not get that additional turn here. Fire Bison does not have cooldowns yet here. So Thompson is a little weak for a couple turns here, and if Edward can get a couple stuns, he may be in a good spot.
Yeah, no provoke going out onto the Sagar. That might be a little bad for Thompson. There's that big first skill, the additional turn popping out there. Ragdoll is going to be taken away from the field.
Wow, really lucky from Thompson to get that proc on that Dominic there. If he did not get that proc, he would instantly lose this match 2-0. So instead, Edward now needs to take out that Dominic, but there is that Molong with Reckless Assault coming on board soon. So I think Thompson's going to be in a commanding spot here. Edward's Juno's really going to need to stun a lot of units.
If that is correct, no defense break coming out here. Nice despair stun going out onto that Dominic. I think he's going to choose to take the Dominic away from the field here. Rolls the dice for some despair stuns. Doesn't receive anything at all. Thompson with a big third skill coming out here. Reckless Assault available. That's going to be taking care of that Juno. And there you have it. Thompson is going to be responding to Edward, taking round 2.
Wow, that proc from that Dominic could not have come at a better time here. If Thompson did not get a proc there, you would see a 2-0 going the other way, but instead we have a 1-1 series. As mentioned before the match, this is really anyone's game here. I really thought it would come down to a game 3. We'll see if the players adjust accordingly. But so far, I like what I see. I like that Thompson is leaning into LDs a little bit more, bringing in the Narsha, bringing in more aggression. This is a very different Thompson than we've seen in the first game here. And Edward playing a little bit more passively than I would have liked. But, you know, when you pull a Ragdoll, I mean, your instinct is to just pick Ragdoll, hit the auto button, and expect the match to take care of itself.
And that's not at all what happened here. Not even the Narsha was able to capitalize off of anything as well. So Edward did a really good job keeping that Narsha back. But definitely, the aggressive play from Thompson's what you want to see from him. If Thompson thinks he's going to be making his way through this tournament, the aggressive side of Thompson's exactly what we need to see.
I mean, Thompson has the ability to flex between aggression and not. Remember, he does have a Ragdoll. He has really beefy runes. He should have a wide box here. So he should be able to threaten if he wants single target kill with Dominic, Masha, Narsha type comps, or if he wants to go AoE with like a Nephis Light Monkey. We haven't seen the Light Monkey picked at all. One thing that was interesting was he picked the Fire Bison there. I really would have preferred a Light Monkey. I think a lot of times a Light Monkey basically dominates the game on its own. And it's really surprising that even though he has a Light Monkey in his box, he chose a Fire Bison over that. I think that was a little bit of a misstep there, but it didn't really matter because he was able to come ahead in the draft anyways. But I really prefer the Light Monkey there. It's a light and dark unit. You should take this.
We'll see what happens in this game 3. The pre-bans are out. Narsha and Tian Lang going to be the units banned out here. Thompson with the first pick.
Yeah, so you see the first pre-bans, the same pre-bans as you did in the first match. THOMPSIN changing up that first pick, going with the Shizuka. Very passive play here. I'm not sure about that Shizuka. Edward going with the Miles and the Oliver makes a lot of sense here. THOMPSIN should probably think about how to enable a Masha, but most likely, I think we're going to see him work into a Gurkha type comp. When he goes turn 2 passive like this, we're going to see a Gurkha. We may even see a Ragdoll because a Tianling's no longer an option. So THOMPSIN's probably tangling with some sort of turn 2 here. So that's what I would be thinking if I was him. He could also lean Dominic to pump out some damage, and of course we see that Nana to go more passive.
Yeah, we'll see if that Juno's going to be coming to the field here for Edward, if he's going to try and predict that a Gurkha will be coming out. Edward's Juno was definitely pumping out a lot of damage, got him a lot of great moments here up against THOMPSIN.
I think a Juno would be okay here, but I would prefer a Changpeng to be a little bit more aggressive, and it would allow him to have a 5th pick to cleave THOMPSIN if needed, because THOMPSIN hasn't presented any type of speed. So a Changpeng would be a lot stronger than a Juno here. I'm not exactly sure if I like the Sagar. I think it's not oppressive enough in an AoE setting, and I think a Changpeng would allow him to open up for the Oliver and a Masha to do a lot more damage, more flexibility in the draft. Sagar is fine, but I think a Changpeng would be better. And then if I'm THOMPSIN, I'm thinking Gurkha, right? I'm thinking Gurkha, I'm thinking Leo is an interesting pick here. Leo's not actually the best into an Oliver, but really good into a Miles, and kind of like it's kind of a wash with a Masha here. So kind of interesting pick from the Leo from THOMPSIN. I'm not sure about that, but Gurkha's a great pick as always.
I feel like we're definitely expecting to see that Juno coming out of Edward here as this last pick, and it is going to be a Dark Monkey King.
Wow, Dark Monkey, we haven't seen this in a while, has the ability to stun on skill 3 and defense break, and with skill 2, the ability to defense break and steal the buffs. I think Edward is likely going to let that Leo through ban the Gurkha. It's the way it feels like. He doesn't really have a way to protect against the Gurkha. He is way too exposed to that, but instead leaves the Gurkha in, so I'm very surprised by that. Edward can easily get locked in here. I'm not sure about that decision here, but he's also bringing a lot of damage, so we'll see if THOMPSIN's going to be able to survive that initial onslaught, and then let this Gurkha go to work and take over the game.
We have a very interesting draft here as we get into Game 3 between THOMPSIN and Edward. That Dark Monkey King, very fast, kicking it off for Edward.
Yeah, that Dark Monkey King, unfortunately, not doing anything to this Gurkha here. Edward's gonna be able to pump in a lot of damage, but remember, THOMPSIN does have that Nana, does have the ability to stay alive for a little bit longer here, and Edward's really gonna need to do a lot with his turn 1, his opening, if he wants to be able to win this game.
Ooh, does land that provoke on top of the Masha. Gets the additional turn. No provoke's going to be landing on top of that Dark Monkey King. Dominic looking to kick, not kick things off, but do some trouble here with the branding effect landing onto that Dark Monkey King. Second skill is available going to the Dark Monkey King. Only landed the provoke. That is all THOMPSIN need with additional turn popping out once again. Landing provokes on the Miles.
And this Dark Monkey King is way too squishy to be drafted this way. It's going to go down off the bat without really using any skills here. So Edward's going to be on the back foot. Nana's going to have 2 stacks here. I think Edward's going to need a miracle if he wants to be able to come back in this game.
Definitely not looking good at all for Edward here. We've got Gurkha landing those provokes just like he needs to. And that's just going to be a Gurkha solo no matter what. There's just too much damage, too much provokes coming out of him.
Too much damage, too much provokes, too much resilience. That Nana's going to have 2 stacks really soon. I'm not sure why Edward did not ban out that Gurkha from the draft. That Gurkha basically took this game over from the get-go. I think taking out that Leo would have made a lot more sense here. Edward's basically on the back foot. There's 2 stacks on that Nana, about to make it 3. There's no way Masha can come across and win. And there we go. THOMPSIN takes this 2-1.
THOMPSIN in round 3 taking down Edward.